You have a great business. You know it, your employees know it, and so do we. So how do we get everyone else to know it? And how can you do it cost effectively? It's simple. Use EDDM. EDDM is a direct mail marketing program from the United States Postal Service named Every Door Direct Mail, and it allows you to get your message out for a fraction of the cost of a stamp. Here's how it works. Start by contacting your local Minuteman Press. We are your EDDM experts. Together, we will manage these important steps. First, set a budget that will give you the biggest ROI. Second, design a creative mail marketing piece with an awesome offer. Third, choose the best delivery routes based on demographics and geography. Fourth, print, bundle, and take your mail to the delivery post office. Fifth, manage a schedule for distribution using USPS mail carriers. 70% of people surveyed say that receiving mail is more personal than the internet. And 73% of consumers say they prefer direct mail for brand communication because they can read it at their convenience. With cost-effective EDDM, you can maximize your return on investment. Minuteman Press is your EDDM and direct mail experts. You know your business. We know how to promote it. We are the modern printing industry. Find your nearest Minuteman Press at minutemanpress.com.
Hey, welcome guys to the grounds with Giles, Jones, Slagle, and Kelsey. And Cappuccino's not here today, but we get Kent up hanging out with us. And we got Nico managing us to cut our lines when we say something that we shouldn't have said.
What's up, Nico?
Thanks for joining us today, guys. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. What are we chatting about today? I have not even paid attention.
Well, Drew was originally going to teach us internet slang today.
Internet slang?
Yeah, which I was really looking forward to.
Me too.
Having cappuccino. We're gonna save that for a different time.
Yeah. All right, so where are we bouncing then?
So today was education for idiots.
A perfect class for me. I love it.
Take a topic that's generally misunderstood and just talk about it. So, I got something for you. I had this.
That's not surprising.
I had this discussion with my buddy the other day, and it made me think of it. And I was like, I'm gonna bring it to you guys. Growing up, you're in school, you're learning about science, right? How many planets?
There's you mean in our solar system?
Yeah, in our solar system.
7? I don't know.
7's probably right.
9.
9.
Yeah, that's what we were taught.
I don't know.
So they changed that, obviously, and there's been a lot of controversy over Pluto no longer being a planet. We were raised that Pluto was the 9th planet in our solar system. I have a buddy who's like diehard for no reason, like I stand by Pluto. They removed it.
Stand by Pluto.
But like it makes me think about how they teach the stuff in schools. Pluto's not a planet because we've continued to discover more things in our solar system, bigger than Pluto or the same size, right? So why did they teach us that? Why did somebody just randomly look up and be like, there's a big rock out there? That's got to be the
well,
ninth planet.
What's the definition of a planet?
So it has to be completely spherical. So it has to be smashed down by its own density, right?
Okay.
So anything dense enough will eventually become a sphere just under its own gravity. It also has to clear.
That's why I'm fat. I'm dense.
You're dense. That's a different type of dense.
I'm a planet.
Type of dense, sir. You are your own planet.
That's all right.
Yeah, and then it has to orbit the sun, and it has to have cleared its gravitational pull, its orbit.
So what killed
Yeah.
them from calling Pluto a planet?
Good morning, Heather.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what killed Pluto is the fact that one, it has not cleared its orbit. So
Hi,
things
Don.
orbit with it, around it, and they aren't affected by Pluto itself. So it's technically just another asteroid floating out there, or a comet. Also, if it got closer to the sun, half of it at least would melt away, and it would have a tail. Planets don't do that. Planets don't have tails. The comets have tails. So
Don't comets burn out?
yeah,
Isn't that so? I mean,
eventually.
so Pluto just refused it. It's
It's
a
too far away.
strong-willed comet. It does not want to give up.
Yeah, so most comets out there are just not close enough to the sun to burn up.
Yeah.
But if they get close enough to the sun, eventually they will. They'll start to burn up.
I'm gonna go yell
Don,
at my science.
good morning, all the
teachers.
way from Texas. And now we're international.
Oh yeah, hey Don.
Or is that intranational?
Intranational.
That's it. Good morning. Good morning. There's old Sally Giles, Bob in there. Good morning. Good morning.
So,
Absolutely.
And Shana in early. Good morning.
yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Okay,
Thanks
so
for
why
tuning in.
why did they teach us that you're saying that?
So we looked up and we just saw another object out there, right? Tiny little object, smaller than our moon.
Yeah.
And it looked like it had a pattern around our sun, just beyond Neptune, right? So we were like, all right, well, that's got to be a planet. Since then, we've declassified it, made it more extensive, because if you look within the asteroid belt,
So now there's only 8 planets.
yep.
Yeah.
And if you look between Mars and Jupiter, you get their asteroid belt. We've taught about the asteroid belt in school. There's at least 4 more objects in the asteroid belt, the same size as Pluto, that are also classified dwarf planets. So our solar system technically has a whole bunch more Plutos in it that are classified the same way,
Okay.
bigger, more round.
I must have missed class that week because I don't remember that
Yeah.
part. Do you?
No,
But
we
like-
had Pluto. It was Pluto.
Well, and the reason that
You
the
got
thing
stuck on the girl in front of your angel.
Yeah. Acid notes.
Or now it's called Uranus or something. I don't know.
Uranus. Hey, shh, don't tell anybody.
I
That's
don't
my
know.
secret.
But and the reason that these things take forever is because space is so empty. And we don't understand that because we watch movies like Star Wars and they're flying in between the asteroids.
Yeah.
In the real asteroid belt, they're 100,000 kilometers apart between asteroids that are a meter wide. The chances of you hitting an asteroid with a spacecraft are 1 billion to 1 if you're not trying to. It's nearly impossible.
So for those of you who aren't watching this video, Steve's eyes are he is excited about it. His eyes are wide open, like, listen,
Like silver dollars.
we're like you're in his asteroid field right now. This brother is excited about this.
If it's
Yeah.
let me add this, if they say it's, let's just say it's 1 million miles away, but then they say it's so many kilometers. Why do they keep interchanging that?
Well,
Right? Miles, kilometers, they go from English to metric.
Yeah, so the Americans will use anything but the metric system. You know that.
Well, I know, but George,
So,
That's a Canadian thing.
yeah, we're 10 billion elephants from the sun.
right? But I just think it's funny how they use a couple different units of measurement in that. They're like, it's 1 million miles away, but then it really is only 100 kilometers away from the other one. I'm like, why do you always stick with one? You're going to confuse me.
A
It's easy
whole
enough
nother
to
country
confuse me. Now you're going to
nonsense,
start throwing all these different measurements in. It's like, how do I figure that out then?
Well, now think about this. We talk about aliens sometimes. If we ever encountered aliens, everything we know is
Every
out
morning.
the window, because they would have a different system of measurement, something already standardized for the large emptiness of space. Where
Maybe that is metric.
we
Maybe we have.
we literally measure space by how fast light travels through it, because space is just big and empty.
Right, light
Big
years.
empty space.
Right.
So
So there's a third one. So you got light years, you got kilometers, and you got miles. When are we going to have inches?
yeah, well, light years is still measured in
It's
the
cold
distance that light would travel per meter, right? In a meter per second.
That's your
So-
excuse, sir.
That's inches. That might be centimeters.
Sounds like no dilating.
That's-
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it.
so you're saying why did they teach us this?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's just like somebody had a theory. They're like,
Mhm.
we're going to put it in a textbook
Yeah.
before it's proven, long before it's proven.
Well, that's the world.
And right, but like,
Let's make it a
but
big
why
deal,
do
and then we prove it
Why do
wrong.
we do this? Like we just
Keep
gave
people's
gave
jobs.
gravity to something that had no weight to it.
Well, we only knew what we knew back then, right? We got smarter as time went on, right? We got smarter as time went on, and they adjust and adapt like everything else in the world. But I mean, here's what it is today, and then they'll change it tomorrow. And we need to learn that, you know, these things do change.
I also think it's really interesting the amount of people that had an emotional attachment to the ninth planet in our solar system. Like people were genuinely upset. They were writing angry letters to NASA. They were like, "How dare you take away Pluto?"
Ruined my whole childhood.
And I think it's funny because you see kids now in school. They're taught. Nico, when you were in high school, how many planets were there?
9.
There were 9 when you were in high school?
Yeah, but now they teach 8.
Yeah. So the kids who were taught 8, they have no problem with it. They were taught that from the start. They never knew any different. They're just like, okay, that makes sense.
Well, why? So, I mean, we can say that about anything, right?
I was just gonna say.
We educate on what we know, right?
100%.
There was a time where menopause was a thing, so they, you know, or whatever, right? And they would do surgeries, you know, brain surgeries and stuff because women were going through menopause or whatever, right? There was a time where the best elixir was cocaine. You know,
I think it still is.
You know what I mean?
Illegal.
And when you don't, you can only educate on what you know. And I mean, take a look at modern medicine, right? I mean, you know, hey, you can get a fake leg now, and you couldn't. You'd be like, well, we'll just saw that off with a saw. Here's some whiskey and bite a bullet
And a jar of leeches.
Yeah, you know. So, you know, I think you can only be educated on what you know, right? The issue is why are people dumb and go and want to dig their heels in and fight for that?
That's the
right?
emotional attachment is where I'm confused because it's like, okay, I was taught something in school. We've done so many shows where we talk about things that are misrepresented in school, and then as we're adults, we learn about them. Christopher Columbus, but there's a bunch of examples. But I just
Shane is right? Science is not what we want it to be. The father of science, quote unquote, was imprisoned for saying the Earth went around the sun. Laugh now, youngin. Right? So I mean, it's I mean, we didn't, you know, when all you have is a telescope, you know, off of your ship. I mean,
right.
That's what you get, right?
100%.
Right.
Technology's changes allow us to look at things differently and better and change our thoughts, right? And I'm going to use the word evolved. You know, our way of looking at things evolved, and we were able to make a little bit, maybe a better sense of it. I mean, I still don't understand why the criteria of a planet, you know, has to revolve around its sun, you know, itself. You know, but I mean, that's a criteria that somebody else set up. I mean, to me, it's always a planet, will be a planet. Right? I mean, Pluto was my thing other than Disney.
So
Pluto
it's still a Sears Tower.
It's still the Sears Tower. I don't call it the Willis Tower.
100%.
You know, I mean, and that's because that's where I grew up. It's still the same building, right? It hasn't changed. Well, it's from the outside.
You go to a lot of shows. What do you call the Hollywood Amphitheater?
I go to a lot of shows.
Yeah, the concerts.
Hollywood. Oh, I mean Tinley Park?
Yeah.
I just say Tinley Park,
right?
Because it changes so quick, right?
Right. Because what is it now? The Credit Bank One?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I've always called it the Hollywood. A lot of people just call it Tinley Park.
Right. It's what we grow up with, what we associate with what we knew and what we grew up with, right? And as things change, it's hard because there's certain things that are embedded in our brain that's nope, that's just the way it is. So these people that are getting so upset are going, wait, you taught me wrong. Well, no, we just didn't know.
100%.
So we just took
an educated guess. Riding on trains were thought to cause the uterus to fly out.
What?
There's still no definitive proof on that one.
I was going to say, how do you do that scientific study? Let's have a double blind test and see what happens. One lady, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Touch grass is the best advice. It's BS until I see it for myself. Gravity is real so far. I mean that's you know that's it. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand people's emotional attachments to things, right? So like Lucy's a junior in high school, my youngest daughter, and I like math. I know math. I'm a numbers guy. Right.
7.
And 6, 7. And I'm too old to do that. Anyway,
gonna hurt yourself.
So she goes she's doing evaluate these equations to the nth root and whatever and make it to the lowest. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, well, this is how you do it. She goes, that's not how you do it. Right. So the way that I learned how to solve these equations, so, and I pissed Alice off because I was like,
No.
what is it that you want? I want to be a stenographer or whatever. She wants to, work with X-ray. I don't know, whatever, right? She wants to be in the medical field. And I'm like, well, then you don't ever have to know this stuff. All right. I mean, I'm like, look, I own a business. I don't ever solve for X ever. Really. I don't. I've never needed to here. Right. But so I'm going through it. And then as I'm walking her through my thought process, she grabs something from the way that they're taught now, which they're saying. So I don't, I scratch my head and go, this new math is, 2 + 2 is 4. You don't take 8 to take away 2, add 3 to divide by 1 to get to, and I'm
Well,
like,
you
I'm just
could.
like,
It's not
here's the other thing, if we're going to talk about math and education, right?
Yeah.
2 times 0 is
0.
how? Why? And why is that? Why is that on 2 times? You can't multiply it then, right? It shouldn't be on the times table.
Right.
Neither should 2 times 1.
Well, there's a lot of things that
it's not
shouldn't
multiplied.
be, but it's there.
But it's not multiplied.
Right.
We use the word multiply, right?
Yeah.
So 2 times 2, you're multiplying 2.
Well, then
I get that.
by that token, 1 shouldn't be on the table either.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I just said
0
that.
and
Right. Because you're not multiplying. Multiplying
They
means
put
more.
those in computers.
Right.
Zeros and ones disappear into the computers.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we should start with when we count 2.
So if
2
you
is
take,
always better than
if you
1.
take it, and I don't even know if they have multiplication tables anymore, right?
It's how they taught it. I feel like there has to be, right? To just for 1 through 9, like they used to.
Right.
We got in a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
not
a
one,
big
but 2
math
through
whiz by any means, but for me, the hardest thing was the freaking the word problems, right? Where you have to go through it and put
Story
it together.
problems.
Yeah.
Right. The storied problems actually dissect the whole thing, and halfway through, I'd be like, shit, I need to start over again. Do they even teach that anymore?
Oh
Nico?
yeah,
They're still doing word problems
there's a
and
lot.
process
That's
of
like all
elimination.
stats is word problems.
Yeah. That was the
If
hardest part.
you
for me
purchase
in
$1
math.
million, you might be emotional if it's proven false. Well, of equipment.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be emotional, but
See, we were the kids that always challenged science teachers. Well, how do you know that's called a planet?
Yeah.
Who came up with the fact that this
Yeah.
is the planet and the definition? So then in school, you had the critical thinking class.
Yep.
What was the point of that? That now all we do is question every single class we take.
Our answer-
Math, I understand because it's architect measurements, stuff like that. But everything else, how do you know that's what it's called?
Back in our day, they said because I said so, right?
yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
I mean,
because I said so.
Oh, I had plenty of teachers that did that to me.
Yeah. It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
and it's
you'd
so
be like, "But how do you
frustrating.
know?" And they'd be like, "Because it is." And
'Cause
you'd be
I
like,
said
"Okay,
so.
but
Prove
who
it to
said
me."
that? Like,
Right.
you're right now. It's just you saying that. Like, who
all
else
right,
said
it's
that?
like pinky. I mean, who came up with that term?
Yeah.
Why? What is
I don't even want to go there. That's a
penis?
different-
I don't know. There's a more masculine word for
But
that.
How frustrating
piece
was
of
that for you
equipment.
back in school, though? Because I said so. It's like, as for me, wanting to dig deep, and they say that it's because I said so. Well, give me some proof,
That's what I do.
right? Yeah, I want
I want to do it
proof.
with my dad, but it doesn't work.
That's
now.
a downfall
Yeah.
for me, is that I need proof. I don't have that. I'm going to use the word faith, right? Because I said, well, I don't believe that. I don't
Yeah.
believe that you said that. That doesn't make sense. I have to look at it a little bit deeper. Where you gave me the example of why Pluto's not a planet, not because I said so, well, because it didn't meet these criteria
Yeah, the scientific. Yeah,
But
so
when did that criteria change?
2006.
There you go.
every day. I think a
Yeah.
criteria and all this stuff, as we're evolving,
Yeah.
criteria are changing quickly as to what things are good, what things are bad, what you
100%.
should and shouldn't do. And it's I would think it's tough keeping up with that. I mean, when we grew up, I think things were, granted, you and me were a lot simpler. They're probably just the same now, but to us, we're going, what? How do you do that? The new math, It's like, wait, what was wrong with the old math?
But I feel like if we didn't challenge, then we wouldn't have new outcomes.
100%.
That's why
That's
things
how
are
you-
always changing. So people
Right,
who like
right.
to challenge and critical think are like, oh, well, we
And-
could try it this
and-
way.
And that $1 million worth of purchased equipment was to find an answer.
Was
And
worth
if you're
it at that
disappointed
point.
by the answer, well, you bought the equipment to find an answer, not to
So
prove,
you actually
unless you
got a
bought it to
result.
prove yourself right, and then you proved yourself wrong.
You got the result. It just cost you a hell of a lot of money.
Right.
Right now, you got to rebuy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keeping up with technology.
No, it's funny. I was just talking to my mom the other day about teachers that just go, because I said so, and then dismiss you. They
Yeah.
was just talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
And an English teacher kicked me out of class one time. So he goes, catcher in the rye. He's like, James Castle, JC.
Right.
Jesus Christ. And I was like, who said that? Did the author say that, or is that just you? And he goes, no, everybody knows that. And I go, why?
Yeah.
Why are you just saying that? Because like
Right.
the book doesn't even really offer a clear explanation for why that would be the connection. And
Right.
he's like, no, it is. And I was like, all right, because right now it's just you saying that. Did the author say that? And he's
Right.
yeah.
I think that's part of the reason that I kind of am the way I am with my critical thinking and going so deep, because I got so tired of everyone going, because I said so. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You know, even though you're an adult, just because you said so doesn't make it right. I'm a kid. I get it. I don't know as necessarily as much as you, although I think a lot of kids these days probably know more than teachers with the internet and stuff, but it drove me nuts with that comment.
Well, my dad, you know, being an electrical engineer, he never said that, you know, that's because I said so, right? He would go into what Steve did, and my ADHD be like, wow, whatever.
Dad, I don't have time.
I gotta go play with my Matchbox cars.
Well, your dad could probably lay it out for you, you know, not mechanically, but lay it out in front of you to make it understood. Instead of saying, because I said so, your dad might explain it to you, and your ADHD checks you out, but at least he had some type of explanation behind it that you could either wrap your head around or go, no, you're still nuts. Sorry, I don't believe you. Right.
But I'm like Kelsey. I was always that kid, or I'm still that guy, you know, just because I'm curious that I call bullshit, you know, just,
as you should,
you know, and that got me in a lot of trouble in school because I would call bullshit all the time. Like, that doesn't make any sense what you're saying. Oh, this is dumb, you know.
But that's
I learned
good.
my lesson. I learned my lesson that way because you know, you do it a few times. You get a couple good teachers that are like, I'm right. You're gonna write me an essay explaining exactly what I just told you, and you're questioning me. Like, you called bullshit. You got to write a paper about why it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then you know, it's like, oh shit, now I'm in 500 words.
Which, think about that one. So
to just to prove the teacher correct.
Right. And think about that one. So as a kid, right,
Right,
that could really demoralize you and go, I'm not even going to ask anymore. So then you just do what they say, and you become, I'm going to say, a lemming or a follower, right? Because why? Because an adult told me. Well, the adult isn't necessarily right because they're older, right? And that for me is just like, it drives me nuts. I think teaching makes kids want to be curious, want to prove them wrong, right? Like, no, you're wrong. Let me prove you. Instead of writing an essay on what bullshit you just spewed to me, let me tell you, like Kent always says, help me understand. Well, I'm going to help you understand why I think you're wrong.
Yeah, well, I think the persuasive essay is an important part of school. I think anytime anybody disagrees, they should be forced to write a persuasive essay.
Yeah, but
citing sources, citing examples.
But today, I mean, with AI, right, and algorithms, if I don't change my algorithm, I'm gonna find everything that supports my thought.
Certainly.
Right. And kids don't understand that. People don't understand that, I don't think, right? But the whole thing is now with AI could be absolutely 100% wrong. And we're gonna go,
that's right.
But
that's
because
right.
of your preferences,
because we don't know, we don't go back to, right?
Yeah.
We can't go back to 2006 anymore because there's nothing pointing to 2006 in my algorithm. And so even all the questioning in the world can still lead to the wrong outcome or wrong answer with the way
according to who, though, what makes it wrong? That's the thing. Like for me, what would make it wrong because that person said, or because the information doesn't necessarily gel with what you're thinking.
It's been a danger for a while, and it's going to only keep getting worse.
Yeah.
Is the irresponsible use of AI, and it's just another, you know, back in the day, I could go online or you know, find somebody who had written a paper, and I could plagiarize it by just taking their work. Right now, AI is responsible for the plagiarization. Both are irresponsible. You didn't learn anything. The irresponsible use of AI is just another. Yeah. It's just this generation's tool for not.
We had
having to
Cliff
do their own work.
Yeah, we called it tag back in the day, talented and gifted, not gifted and talented education. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but back when I was in school, right? You didn't have. I mean, if you were a smart reader, they would break you off, and all the smart readers would go read books that are smarter. If you were not a good reader, you were reading See Dick Run, See Jane Bounce the Ball, right? While these guys are reading, you know, Love and War or whatever it is, right? And then if you were really good in math, you went with the smart people and did the math with the smart people, and you kind of knew your place in life. Now it's like, no, we got to have the dumb people with the smart. That's why we have Steve here at the table, because I'm one of the dumb people. He's one of the smart people. He's not on the smart podcast. Right. So everything has changed because, well, we can't let Kelsey know that she's average, right? You're with the smart people, you're with the dumb people.
That's it. I see that, like you say that, that the criteria is different. Just because you don't agree or understand doesn't make you dumb, right? Or if you have to read See Dick Run, right?
Sure,
and you read Love.
I'm challenging the school system,
right?
So they
Exactly.
don't like me.
Exactly.
They're
You're
gonna
challenging.
toss me to the bench.
That's what I'm saying. So they're going to take
right.
somebody as intelligent as you because you don't have their same views, right? Or look at it the same way. And they're going to demean you and make you feel like you're dumb, right? Because you don't follow what society says you should follow. And that's a big problem for me, because that's one reason I like what the Montessori schools, right? They let the kids kind of run with what really interests them, right? They don't make them stick to a specific plan. There are certain things that they do, but they let them run with what their brain is asking them
and
to
then
do.
when they go to the regular school, they can't read or write because they were
there's
really
no
good at
basic
building with
understanding.
blocks.
Yeah.
They can run a lemonade stand like nobody's business, though.
That's right. Well, and that's
Those are all the entrepreneurs.
what I was going to say. And if that's what's important
Look,
to them,
my
great. I mean,
kid can't read, but he understands capitalism.
listen, but when we were, you had to learn math. I mean, you just said, Lucy, you're never ever going to solve for X, right? But having the basic theory behind it is important, right? Or at least, like for me, doing the word problems, trying to figure those out to be able to manage a couple things at a time. But just because I can't do that doesn't make me dumb. It makes me different. I can look at things differently than others instead of being, with the status quo, if you will, right? Because for me, I like being on the outside of things. I like being the questioner. I like being different, right? Because it's exciting for one, but I've never, and that's why I ask so much and I go so deep with things, because it's just because you said so doesn't make it right. Whether you're older, whether you've got 6 PhDs or whatever, it doesn't make it right for me, unless you can help, as Kent says, help me understand how you get to that.
Well, so
Are we non-coachable kids?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Are we?
There's an
In a
important
respect,
distinction, though.
in certain respects, we are.
Yeah.
There's an important distinction, though, because if you have a problem in one specific area with learning, either dyscalculia or any sort of learning disability, right?
Yeah.
Time out. What's that mean?
I was just gonna say, I'm over here going, what?
I'm like,
So-
calculus? I didn't remember learning calculus.
like dyslexia, but with numbers. Like it's just where you
okay.
look at a page and your brain scrambles everything.
Yeah, so instead of a 6, you see a 9. Instead of a 9, you see a 6.
Or a 7,
But
6 or 7.
The-
It don't
Never
matter.
But the
heard of
important
that.
thing to note is that while you're not dumb because you didn't get the word problems, the
But
word
that's
problems,
not what makes you dumb.
the word problems did have an answer, and there was a correct answer
Yeah.
to the word problem.
Correct.
So if you didn't get the answer, it doesn't mean that the school gave you a bogus problem. It means you didn't get the answer, and
Oh,
if
yeah.
nobody explained it to you. It means that they failed at
Right.
teaching you the problem.
Yeah,
But there was still a correct answer.
yeah, many very, very successful people were quote unquote dumb.
Well, and then like most people got the highest score on their OSATs were like the biggest assholes.
When they put all the,
I'm like, those are all the Cowboys fans.
but I mean, they put labels on a lot of us kids. It
Yeah,
sounds like we
when
were
you just
similar,
said
right? Like,
calculus, that was probably
Right.
me. That was the reason why there was a label for that.
I didn't understand it. Like, your typical or whatever.
Couldn't call
Like,
it Kelsey.
based on how I know you and so on, I would say that you're probably a little bit more like me, a little bit more neurodivergent, right? To where your brain doesn't go down that same path, right? No,
Got
I
it.
got the divergent part. Neuro means brain, so
Right.
something.
Yeah.
right. Well, we think differently. We put things together differently. We have to ask questions differently, right? We have to have a legitimate answer. It can't just because I said so, right? You have to dig deep.
I need
and find-
somebody to sit me down when I go from like the different schools. You need to say, listen, your voice does not matter.
Right.
You are to learn this to help you understand the world. I'd be like, okay, shut my mouth.
Yeah.
Be a textbook animal, basically a lab rat here, and then just answer the questions how they want me to, and then just go about my business.
And there are a lot of great educators out there. My mother-in-law
Yeah.
was a great educator. She spent several years. Bob, who I have coffee with on Friday mornings, great educator. But there are now educators out there that are dumb.
Hmm.
And they rely on AI, they rely on Google and whatnot to create things. And I see a lot in today's education. I see a lot of because I said so, because they haven't studied. Hey, I partied at school for 4 years, got an education degree,
Right.
and now I'm a
They're
math
just,
teacher
they're
in
just
high school,
regurgitating
you know?
what
Right.
they've seen.
It's one of the weirdest parts about growing up is you go through high school, you got your buddies, you know the people that you go to school with, then you go to college, or sometimes you don't, you go right into the workforce.
Yeah.
And then eventually you start to see the people that you knew intimately take jobs that you know for a fact they shouldn't be having. Teacher, doctor, lawyer. And you're like, how on earth are you teaching other people's children? Like, I've watched you do the dumbest
They passed
shit.
the test.
Like, there's no way.
That's about it.
There's no
So,
way.
Why
But they did.
is there not classes on note taking and how to
Right.
research, or classes on AI and social media? Oh, there are now.
Right.
Oh, there are now, and there's clubs for those as well
Mhm.
at high schools. But
You belong to the math.
but again, there's
was
not
none.
there's not a ton of them. And thank you. Is that Andrew Shashastro?
Drew.
Shashastro. I don't know. That was a big long one. Good morning, Cap. Good to have you. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. But to me, so I'll use Spencer. Now Spencer's 30, so I mean this is 31. So he was brilliant. He's got one of the best minds. He's like you, Steve. He's just brilliant, right? And so my brother is a psychologist. He's the head of the psychology department at Central Iowa University. And he watched Spencer, like in 6th grade, do math. And Spencer just look at the problem and then write down the answer. And my brother's like, looks at me, goes, how's he doing that? I go, I don't know. He knows the answer. He goes, the answer's right. I go, yeah. He goes, but he doesn't write.
He didn't work out.
He doesn't write all the steps out. I go, no, I don't know. I guess he doesn't need to, right? So Spencer, then we go. He fast forward to high school, and we go to the parent teacher conference because he's getting a D or whatever in class, and we're like, what the hell's going on? And he does his tests the same way. He puts down the right answer. Doesn't show all the
your work.
right?
They'll fail you for that.
So the teacher, and he's not handing his homework,
Yeah.
right? So we're sitting there, and the teacher, says, well, we got to know how he gets to that answer. I go, why? He gets the right answer.
Mhm.
I mean, the answer's right. Well, and he's not handing his homework. So we got to know that he's picking up what we're teaching. And Spencer,
Got the right answer.
Spencer looks right at the teacher and goes, I've got no less than a 96% on any one of your tests. Isn't a test testing me on what I know?
Yeah.
And I go like this. He makes a good point.
And the teacher's probably like, don't speak to me like that.
Right. And she was just kind of dumbfounded.
Yeah.
And
And
she scrambles. Well, it's in the syllabus that I said, okay. So, after this, I'm like, this lady's obviously an idiot. Right. But then I go to Spencer afterwards. I'm like, listen, bro, this is like a video game, man. The homework is a level you got to pass. I said, just turn that shit in. Yeah, I mean, where is it? It's in my locker. Is it done? Well, yeah, it's done. Whatever. I'm like, well, you got to pass that shit in. You got to pass that level, rules, right? I said that's all you got to do, right? But that's where the frustration is. We don't in today's educational world, we don't look at that going, there's something great about this kid, right? It's like, no, you have
They'll
to
make him feel bad because he's smart.
Right. So if you use me, for example, I was always the kid disrupting class and never trying to his best potential every time. Right. And I would get in trouble for that. Instead of them going, you like to talk. Maybe a great avenue for you would be media or, get on the news or do something, radio communication, something like that, because you never shut your fucking mouth. Yeah. Right. Instead, they're so concerned about me passing tests, getting grades on a test so that the school can get funding from the state. That's a whole different probably show, right? That I can go down. Yep. That they're not taking a look at each kid going, Kelsey, you got a good brain. You're entrepreneurial. You should really look into your creative, right? Instead, they're like, you're getting a D. you're going to have detention and you got to come in for extra study.
Stop rebelling.
Stop
Well, yeah,
rebelling.
exactly.
Right.
Being different is rebelling, and
Right.
that sucks because they don't want the kids to actually learn and be themselves.
Everyone processes differently, and that kid is going to have a life of tripping egos, and he does. The best thing for him was, he spent 9.5 years in the Navy, where he learned how to bite his tongue.
And that's a good education.
Right? Because when you call bullshit in the Navy, it's sometimes hard. But
factories creating.
Is that the Navy's probably one of those?
yeah, that's
Because
so
I
true.
said so, right?
That's so true. I mean, yes, every child is different, but every child's the same, right? I mean, kids are kids, right? And yeah, you can be different. It's okay to be dumb, right? There are dumb people in the world. It's okay to be dumb. You don't have to call yourself different because there's a lot of dumb people in the world. You don't have to call yourself different because you're smart, because there's a lot of smart people in the world, right? But labeling kids, is ridiculous, right? And then all of a sudden you get into the real world and you're the smart kid. So now you're around all these smart engineers. You're no longer smart. You're average.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where depression, that's where all this stuff happens. And people start coming with guns and, blow.
Well, that labeling is really dangerous for people because, as like you being in school, never shutting up and stuff like that. I was very similar and always got in trouble for that. And, teachers went as far to say that you are not going to do anything in this world. You're not smart enough.
Weed was illegal back in the 80s, and that quieted me down quite a bit. I didn't want to get caught.
For me, I as bad as it was, I was lucky that they labeled me and told me I would go nowhere, because I think that helped drive me and want to prove them wrong. Right. When somebody tells you can't do something, or
that worked for you, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. For me, it worked. I don't like the fact that they label, but for me, it worked. I took that negative, I guess, if you will, and I turned it into a positive, because it drove me so hard. Going, I'm going to prove you wrong because you're an adult. Because that was one of why am I going to not make anything? Because I said so type of answer, right? Well, how do you know? Things are different. The world isn't supposed to be the same. You're supposed to look at things differently. I don't want to be like my neighbor. I want to be me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things these days are pushing kids not to be themselves and to be individualistic, to being what society expects them to be. And that's, for me, that sucks. That makes me nuts.
Well, yeah. We are all put in boxes by society. I mean, that's how you control the masses.
That's why I like answer D, all the above.
All the above.
Always all the above.
That's it.
Or explain yourself. Okay, I'll explain.
Well, if it had a D, all your above, right? It usually was probably the right answer.
And but part of just existing in life, right? Like, you don't want to be exactly like your neighbor, but you do have to. Part of being an adult and making it through life day to day is you do have to understand where your neighbor's coming from. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to share. You could still be an individual and completely in your own lane.
Or her.
Yeah.
Or her.
Or they.
It's 2026, Steve.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Steve, get correct.
I've seen your neighbor.
See my neighbor?
Can cause a lot of
but no, you still have to be able to see where other people are coming from.
Yeah.
You have to relate, you have to empathize, and there does have to be a certain amount of give. You can stick to being an individual and not conforming, while still not being an asshole or completely abrasive in society.
So you used a word that I'm not familiar with, adult. What's the definition of an adult? Because I always hated being, I'm always the youngest in a lot of my crowds, and people are like, you got to be an adult about it. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Right.
I feel like that falls in the whole.
I'm
category
adulting.
It
because
means
I
you got to
said
have
so.
unrealistic comments.
And I'm like, so I have to respond the way you do? That makes me an adult?
That's when you too bad you know, be like, I'm an adult. How do you know that? Because I said so.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm an adult because I said so. That's my
And it could be
criteria.
different for everybody, but becoming an adult is when people stop giving you leeway for being a child and they start treating you as such. You're a kid, you say some stupid stuff, you get away with it, people tell you off, they might punish you. You become an adult and you say those same things, people will treat you very differently because they treat you like an adult. That's, I think, the dividing line is when everybody else starts treating you like you're no longer a child.
How do
Go ahead and ask that question.
you literally, that was like a political answer.
I know.
I'm gonna tell you the definition using the word 17 times.
So
Spiderweb.
when was your first job?
16.
16.
Wait.
Did they treat you like an adult or did they treat you like a kid?
Classified job.
Well, my mom was the owner, so I got treated
Oh,
like an adult.
Getting paid.
Independently of family.
Yeah.
So I would also add that stipulation in there.
You just asked me a
Right,
question.
family
I
could be the
answered.
hardest.
Right.
Family could be the
Now-
hardest thing in the world to work for, buddy.
Sure.
It could be the most
They
advanced thing.
are.
They are, but that's what I'm saying, because they don't, like, for me, I don't, you know, or even Deidre, don't give you any shit. You're my kid, but you're still working for me, right? If you're an adult, this is what you do. It has nothing to do with you being a kid. This is what's expected of you as an adult. You know,
Oh yeah,
quote,
I've
unquote.
seen that one. Yeah, Shannon says there was an experiment that involved telling the teachers that she had advanced kids. The outcome, and they weren't advanced
They
kids.
gave them the dumb
Right.
kids and turned them into
Yeah,
smart
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you label
yeah.
somebody, you put them in a box, right?
Okay, I would agree with that.
That's a good-
Adulting is accountability.
Yeah, a full
I like
shift,
that.
a shift to full accountability. That's a much easier term. I mean,
Thank
you
you,
went
Shane.
you went a long
went
way.
deep.
Steve. You went a long way.
That politically puts it succinctly as
Perfect.
hell,
You'd be
right?
a great teacher.
That's right.
She is secretly just she
That's
doesn't
right.
want to tell us.
Yeah, Steve's the professor. You come in, he's got 8 chalkboards with a bunch of equations and stuff on, and he's like, "Okay, let's talk English."
Hi, my name is Mr. Hand.
I just want you to know how great that I am.
These
With
are
all,
just decorations.
I can see Steve teaching doing it. He comes in. Hi, my name is Mr. Hand.
This was just my lunch break. No big
This
deal.
is my life. This is what I do for fun.
Yeah.
I try to figure out things to the end.
I had a question. I had a question this morning as I came in, so I just scribbled this out. It's great. It's great.
Well, my favorite thing is depending on like where you learned English at all over the US. Like my teacher in 4th grade in Utah, she had a British accent.
Oh, cool.
So like the way my brother and I learned English, like we can't enunciate the same as everybody else does.
She's actually the voice on my GPS.
Is she?
She got a different job teaching. Now
That
she
might
tells
be.
everyone where
But
to
I
go.
mean,
That
then
might
you
be
go
racist,
to
yeah, I
other
don't know.
places, they're like, you're pronouncing it wrong. And I'm like, what? We have the same definition.
Well, you
I'm
said
just saying
syllable
it
and he
differently.
says syllable, right?
Y'all.
Y'all.
What do we have there? Heather says some people are never fully accountable, never fully adults. I agree with that. I know a lot of people that I grew up with, still live in the same towns. I mean, you go to the same bar, they're on the same stool. I mean, they
Doesn't make them not an adult. Though.
they never became fully accountable. And it's, I agree with that
Maybe They were
100%.
an adult in the criminal justice system. And it's like, I
Hey.
tried it as an adult.
There you go.
That's a-
Therefore, this is where you belong.
That
You're gonna
is,
stay in that bar.
Yeah, that could be the whole adult thing there. What does the law say?
Well, so Nico, being that you are younger in school, do they
He's
still
not in school.
He's all right. He's a lot younger, but do they still categorize, right? Like, do they put the smart kids, dumb kids, and do they like label you, right? I mean, like, because teachers back when I was growing up, they labeled the shit.
But
out of you.
everybody's in the same class. No?
Not really.
No, they split off for math and English.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
put
Oh, well, then I'm
the
happy with
dumb or
that.
slow kids in the
Like special ed.
They don't call it. They call it class 1, 2, and
Right,
3
but
now.
so my thing is if you put
I'm
quote
happy with
unquote
that.
dumb kids in the dumb kid class, so how are they supposed to expand? How are they supposed to grow if you're putting them around dumb people? I like being the dumbest person in the room
That's
because
not
I
hard
learn,
stuff.
Oh.
right? And I get that.
I like
Thank
being
you.
around Steve.
But you know what I mean? I like being in a room where people are
Here's-
smarter than me because I'm going to learn. If I'm in a room with people the same or dumber than me, for me, that's not exciting.
Yeah,
For
if you
me,
can't
it's
find the dumb person in the room, probably it.
like, right? And that's okay because I want to learn. I'm not going to learn from someone dumber than me.
well, like Kent was saying with Spencer, how he didn't do the correct formulas and whatnot.
Mhm.
If you continue to do that stuff, even though you're very smart and you get a D or whatnot, you're going to be put in with the quote unquote dumb kids,
Right.
And then you're
Right.
going to be
Right.
just way behind,
So-
I guess you would say.
What got me is like our school had the different classrooms, right? And all the kids with learning disabilities and behavior disorders were put into the same classroom. Now, I knew a really smart kid that just he smoked weed every day. The teachers knew it. We all knew it.
There's a good song.
He
about
wore
that.
he wore Rasta hemp
Why do you think
hoodies
he's so
like all the
smart?
time, right? this guy would just smoke weed. He was always getting in trouble, so they put him in with the learning, the more structured classroom. There's 3 teachers to every 7 kids or whatever, right? And then, but that's like the dumb kid class.
Right.
He was perfectly brilliant.
Right, and think about
he was
this
perfectly fine. He just smoked weed and got in trouble a lot. He got to read Harry Potter, all the books of Harry Potter over 4 years, and he got to do all his book reports on Harry Potter. So did the whole class. His GPA went right next to mine. Nobody stacked that.
Well, you know what the problem with when you said that is they associated right away weed that you're dumb, right? This guy is brilliant, so he was probably using, I'm guessing, right, that he was using marijuana to slow his brain down.
So even the kids that weren't on weed, that just talked a lot in class, those kids that if they got in trouble enough for talking in class, they got sent to that room too.
Right.
So then they would be.
They were doing him a disservice.
I'm just a class clown. I'm perfectly brilliant. Now I'm reading Harry Potter.
Right, but they would put that kid down because he found something that worked to quash his brain. It wasn't yoga. It wasn't meditation. He smoked a little weed, right, or marijuana, right,
under
to calm
18,
his brain.
Under 18, I don't think you're allowed to self-medicate by any stretch.
Put that rule in line.
So
many people.
So I think jail, the ultimate economy. Yeah, no, that's true. That's when you know you're an adult. Are you going to juvie or are you going into the county?
What are they trying? By your height and your weight.
And I think that's more of a good definition because I know a bunch of immature adults that I wouldn't even, by most accounts, I wouldn't call them adults. They don't act like adults, but other people are going to treat them as such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in my school, the classes were never labeled, but we all knew and probably killed some aspirations. Here is the I think is the big tripping point in today's education, even my education and yesterday's education, is we grade by letters, right? And you fail if you get 50%. However, when you go into life and if you run a business and you have 50% growth or you hit 50% of your goal, that's a win.
That's a huge
That's a huge win.
Right.
Right. So we make the people who do their best or don't do their best, right? And we go, you failed because Kelsey is brilliant and we knew, she was going to get an A. So she got the 100% because she's Kelsey. Steve, you ended up getting 50 out of 100 and you suck. Wait a minute. Any sport, if you're 50% in any sport, right? Anything you do, when you set goals in a business and you hit 50% of it, that's a good year.
Right. And that's the thing. They're putting you in that box.
Yeah.
Because you can't score on this one, you're dumb. Well, wait a minute. I think differently. But like you said, 50% of your shots, 50% success, right? Even 30% success, right? Well, that's better than zero.
Every kid to the smart.
You're moving forward.
Well, and the other thing is this, though.
So this will never work.
If you aren't,
I wasn't this Brian Chung. Shout out Brian Chung. I still see you around the world with math, beating me every time. See you. You go talk to Brian if you want the smart kid in class because that was Brian Chung. Or Nev Karen Sign. He was.
I had a college teacher named Mr. Wong, and if he did taught algebra, he said, "Don't do it the right way, do it the Wong way."
Yikes!
Sorry if that's a little, I'm just gonna say, do we get canceled? That is pure and simply my view, and that is a true life story.
Right. You go to the Hall of Fame. Exactly. Right. So and here's the other thing. Unless you're an entrepreneur, let's say you work for somebody, you don't have homework. No. School's like, I'm going to load you up with Lucy will have hours of homework.
Yeah.
So you're going to school for 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day now, whatever it is. And then they load her up with 3 hours of homework. And I'm like, unless you're an entrepreneur, there's really no homework. Doctors aren't going home and going, well, I'm taking this patient home because I didn't finish here at the hospital. Right. I got to do this at home. I got some homework I got to do.
The teachers couldn't get what they needed to do in class. So you go home and do it by yourself and try to figure it out because I can't teach it to you properly.
When I was in high, and Nico has a more recent recollection of this, but when I was in high school, so I was on the paper, we wrote an article. So your first day of class, every teacher tells you their expectations for your class.
So help our young listeners understand what a paper is.
Newspaper.
So back in the day,
we printed on both sides.
We used to have cell phones made of paper.
Right.
It's like like a card catalog.
So yeah, we wrote this article, and Nico can tell you, because when you start a class or a new semester in high school, each teacher will give you their expectations for their individual class
In the syllabus.
Yeah, you go in, their syllabus says, okay, cool, you're going to need to study 2 hours outside of class every day, and it'll tell you. So we took all the syllabuses. We took 7 average syllabuses from the teachers, added it up, and it ended up being 28 hours.
Yeah.
So
a day.
So no sleep, no food, no anything. 28 hours a day. If you take 7 classes in high school and the expectations outside of class from the teachers, it's 28 hours.
It's
a day.
ridiculous.
You know why they did that? Because somebody told them.
Yet they'll tell you. Yet they'll tell you,
it.
hey, when you get out of school, and you're like, no. Listen, when I'm off work, I sit in my underwear and watch Friends. And I'm
That's
talking
my
about
homework.
my neighbors. And and I'm out on the front yard doing that
every day at 5 a.m.
That's it. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
100%.
Right.
So to me, the grading system and all this garbage. Hey,
Malarkey.
if you can't teach them in the 4 hours that you have, 5 hours that you have during the school week,
Failed.
then you're a bad teacher.
Yeah, you failed the student.
Then you're a bad teacher, right?
And in a lot of cases, that's the case. A lot of cases, though, underfunding, understaffing. One teacher for 50 students is never going to make an impact on those students.
Don't say never.
right,
The students have to make
say-
the effort. The
And
teacher
think
can't
about,
make the
think about
individual
this
effort
one
for
when
you.
they give you all that homework, right, to go home and do. Well, of course you're going to hate school and hate learning because that's all you're doing. You're not giving you any time to be your individual, right? You're in school all day learning, getting the shit thrown at you. Now, okay, go home. Don't enjoy yourself. Do more of this shit that you don't like or understand.
But
because I
think it
said
has
so.
to be like a flip. Like if you want to see something be successful, you need to work at it. So that's like what school is. Like same with sports. If I want to become a better shooter, I need to be in the gym amounts of time every day.
Practice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Practice. So same thing with homework. It's practice. But I would agree to the fact of like when I was in school, so if I tested well on tests, I didn't have to do homework. It was washed. Because apparently I don't need that because I'm already good at
Right,
it.
but if you're doing homework,
But it's like,
I'm sorry.
but it's like, so it's like we have weaknesses and strengths. And I feel like with the teachers, it's just more of a, if this student is struggling, sure, let's take some time and re-explain it. And I think it's all comes down to the communication part.
Right, but
Because a lot of kids
A
are
lot.
not
Right.
understanding. A lot of them are either
Right.
lecture kids or visual. And half of classes, 80%, I would say, if not more, are fucking visual
Yep.
or hands-on.
Hands
That's
on.
me.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
don't throw this. Like, I remember when I did accounting with my dad, it was like 1,000-page fucking workbook. And I was like,
Right.
you gotta be shitting me.
Well,
Like,
if
can we
this-
get the blocks out and the eggs and we start moving it around?
Right.
This
And
way
if the
I'll
teacher-
understand better.
If the teacher isn't teaching you what you need to know in class and then sending you home to try to figure it out, you're going to be even more confused and more pissed off to not to want to do it. I get the whole reasoning behind it, but as you said, 28 hours, it's unrealistic. Like ask for that, like extra help. They didn't do that. You're in school all day long, getting shit thrown at you, and you're a kid trying to develop and you're going, what? And so now you need some time as an entrepreneur. We're working all the time, but you need downtime to reflect, to do that introspection, to just turn it off.
But
You can't do that in school these days. These kids are constantly bombarded.
the smartest, who Don says, the smartest people I know learned almost everything they know outside of school,
Yep.
reading and learning from others. No, well, it's true, but
100%.
but when 50% of your grade is on your homework,
Mhm.
that ain't practice at that point,
Right.
right? That's different. That's hey, I don't feel like really digging in and being there to help you and answer questions. You're going to do that at home and get very frustrated. And then you're going to hand it in and I'm going to grade the effort that you gave here. I don't know if you don't understand it, but I just see that you didn't try hard.
Or you're
right?
gonna
But I
bug your
showed up,
parents
I
to
wrote my
figure it
name
out.
on it. I attempted.
Or you come
Don't
home and
matter,
mom, dad,
right?
I'm a
mom, dad,
practice
mom,
player.
dad.
So-
I didn't do that.
So that's where, as a teacher, that's where you have to say it. Like, listen,
That's where they're failing.
here's some resources for outside of class, because if you really want to get better at this and you're going to need this for whatever, then hey, you're going to have to work on this outside of class, right? Simple as that, right?
Like-
I mean, we lost a game on Tuesday and the ladies were upset and they're like, we should have won. I said, stop that. I go, why would you say that? I go, here, did anybody get in the gym this weekend and put up 1,000 shots? They all just look at their feet. Did anybody get in the gym and practice their ball handling? They look at their feet. How about in the summer? Did y'all put in 8 extra hours a week just working on a skill? And they look at their feet. I go, that's what you should have done, right? It ain't now. right? So you're a product of of whatever you put in, wherever you put your focus, right? But making it 50% of your grade and giving 28 hours of homework, come on.
That's
Right?
ridiculous.
That means I'm shirking my responsibility as a coach or as a teacher, right? Like, hey, I got you for an hour. I'm gonna talk to you about this principle. If I can't get that principle across to you in 15 or 20 minutes and then answer questions and let you work for the rest of the time, then that's a bad teacher.
Yeah, figure it out. Go home and ask your parents.
Because you know why? Because the kids will go home and Google it, and in a 10-minute video, their Google will go bloop bloop bloop, right? And they'll have it figured out in 10 minutes by watching a YouTube,
Yeah.
right? Right? It is. Yeah.
No, so a good friend of mine, she works teaching at MCC. She teaches computer sciences, and she knows that even an hour and 45 minutes is not appropriate to teach somebody an entire new language,
Sure.
like computer learning. So she has a series of YouTube videos that she does for free, and they teach her students outside of class. So she goes, you can watch any of my videos. It explains how to do any problem.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's how she teaches outside of school. She's like, I am always available on YouTube.
Right.
can
And
always
to
look.
Kelsey's point, at 80 to 90% of those kids are visual, and they're going to watch
Right.
that YouTube and go, oh, I get it.
Yep.
Well, plus it's more on like your time. So like if I don't operate in the same, if I can learn something in 20 minutes, I could actually sit there and pause it when I don't understand something she says, write it
Right.
down, then
Right.
go back and do my search.
Right.
Right.
But you don't get that when you're in
Right.
class.
Well, and I think based, obviously, I haven't been in school forever, but I think it's like you have to create some type of desire, right, to want to learn that, to want to better yourself, right? In school, I don't think they do that. You know, it's
No, they
do
So
because
the first-
because I said so type of thing. Learn this, but hey, like in math, like
Well,
so the-
look how this actually comes about, right? And figured out, like, wow, now I understand it. Not because I said so, actually figuring it out. And the teachers aren't doing that. They're saying, this is what I'm going to say you in school. Now go home and try to figure it out on your own.
So
Well,
the largest
why?
failings of the high school system in general right now is the lack of preparation for the real world.
Yep.
And the lack of an orientation class. The first class you take in high school should be explaining to you why the knowledge is important in life.
Correct.
It should be explaining to you how to learn,
Yeah.
how to take notes. We had a comment like that.
Or
earlier.
maybe in junior high.
Yep. Or
Yeah.
you should
Yeah.
be junior high,
Yeah.
ideally.
Right.
Yeah. But it should be how to take notes, how to learn, and then why it's important to learn. Explaining it on a foundational level to people would make them apply themselves 10 times better.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of the I because I said so, or this is what the
100%.
world,
Yep.
this is what the world says you have to know. Well, that doesn't matter because the world, for the most part, doesn't give a shit about you.
Nope.
You have to give a shit about yourself and wanting to better yourself. And I don't think they bring that structure to a kid's brain these days. You know, going, this is why you need to learn this. This will help you in life. Where, you know, knowing algebra later in life as an entrepreneur doesn't help me. But if you're going to become an engineer,
I don't walk around
this needs
trying
to
to
help
help
you.
for X.
right, exactly. But if you're going to be an engineer or a doctor,
No.
these are
But you
things you
problem
need to
solve
know.
every day.
I do.
Like
You
that's
do.
the biggest thing.
Well, yeah.
But then
Oh,
the
yeah.
logic comes in, though.
Solve.
Yeah, but back in the 80s, that's what they, you know, because that's what they tell you. It's like, listen, you may never have to solve for X, but this is going to give you the critical thinking processes to solve
Right.
problems, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, right? That's what they told us. So
Right.
I'm like, but if you ask Lucy, she's like, I don't know.
Did you have
I
a
don't know
class-
why I need to know roots to the nth degree.
Did you have critical thinking in any of your grade
No,
school?
no,
Kelsey?
no.
Critical thinking classes,
Yeah, we took
psychology?
4 years of critical thinking.
But I mean in grade school.
No, I didn't take it till awkward high school.
So what about you, Nico? Anything, a type of critical thinking, how to figure out, like, you know, solving for, you know, if then, as far as logic, critical thinking, being able to break
Well
things
said,
down to a
Steve.
different level,
Bob likely.
Oh, nice.
right?
So they didn't do
That's a
the
genius
class. We
right
didn't
there.
have a critical thinking class in high school, but when you enter MCC, every student has to sit in that computer lab and take a critical thinking assessment.
Right.
How well can you critical think?
Right.
That assessment is for everybody, even whether or not you took a class on how well you
Yeah.
can critical think.
Right.
And
And what type?
and it places you not in a class, not on any, it's just on a national scale. How good are you at problem solving your way out of a paper bag? That's
And
literally
they
all
don't
it's
even
measured.
give you the basic skills to
lick
do
it
that, to
and it
look at
gets wet.
something.
Yeah.
I lick it and it gets wet.
Yep.
Right.
And then-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. But that's your
What is she
critical
doing?
thinking. If
She's
I
getting
lick
out of
it,
that paper
right?
bag. I'm tell you
Now
that.
that's thinking outside the bag.
Hey,
They
hey.
didn't teach you that, right? You kind of figured that out. Wow, if I lick this, it gets wet. So you figured
What?
out what the start
What?
of it.
Whoa. Wow, Scott, this is a family type
it's
of a.
not.
It's,
Whoa.
But you know what I mean?
It's
You
like-
We
guys
were
like
talking education.
in
Now
a
we know.
roundabout way.
Now we know how Scott got through school.
Lick an envelope.
I don't think it was an envelope.
Explain the
Whoa.
cuts on the side.
Yeah.
Guys, don't give away my secret, okay? This is my
What kind of
secret
store do you
home.
own? That's right. Yeah, that's right.
A
That's
dog
right.
store.
That's right.
That's the cover.
But I think so many kids in society would benefit from in grade school critical thinking,
Listen.
logic, and psychology, just the basics.
Here's the last problem I have with education. The last problem I have with education is that today's parents don't take any interest in what their kids are doing. Their kid will go up to their room, do the homework, not do the homework, whatever. Parents, you're the education system. And the high school, the junior high, the elementary school should just support what you're
Reinforce
teaching
it.
your children,
Yeah.
right? We take, I mean, Alice she's on it, right? And then I come in and help out as well. But we have taken such a strong stance in our kids' education and making sure that they're educated. And today's parents, a lot of today's parents don't. They either have two jobs because of the cost of living, whatever the case may be. It's a split home, whatever. One's an asshole, one's not an asshole, whatever, right? And I don't have time to sit with you to help you understand why you're going through it, to calm down your anxieties, to
great
calm
point.
down everything, right? So I hate the grading system, number one, and I think, and I say that as parents, you have to educate your kids. The education system's there to support what you're educating.
Reinforce it, yeah. Because they're not going to teach your kid and give your kid exactly what they need to know. They're going to teach them what they think they need to know.
You had kids
You
during
know
the
your
dark
kid
times of
better.
COVID.
Well, you know your
Homeschooling.
kid, right? You
Yeah.
know your kid
Keeping them
better
focused.
than that
impossible.
school.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
it's tough.
Your kid had to do schooling from home. We never had to do that.
Right.
I mean, good luck. Good luck telling me. Can you imagine having our teacher get us all on like a phone call or something?
Right.
All right. That thing
There's
would have
only
been,
one landline. I don't know.
I would have
You
picked
got
that
9:30 to 10.
thing would have been sitting on the table. I would have picked it up at the end, been like, "Thanks so much."
Holy
All right,
cow.
we're over the time. We got.
Oh, we're over time. Thanks so much, guys.
Hey,
We need to
listen,
get the 50 beans.
before we jump out of here today, 3 p.m., we've got a brand new season 2 Gregarious Guys. And today's topic is your reputation is everything. So stop being an idiot out in public.
If you're an adult, take accountability.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you tuning in every week.
Like,
Make sure
share,
you please
subscribe.
like, share, subscribe, and tell everybody about us. We're just 5 awesome people, depending on the day, just trying to tell you about life, enjoy each other. So go out there, be the change you want to see in the world, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, podcasters, let's be honest for a second. If your show sounds like it was recorded inside of a tin can, in your cousin's basement, in a van down by the river with your dog barking in the background, it's time for an upgrade. That's where 216 Creator Studios comes in, the home of real production, real people who actually know what all those shiny buttons do. They've got pro mics, top-tier editing, and lighting that makes everyone look like they slept 8 hours, even if you didn't. Whether you're just starting out or you've been podcasting since people were still saying, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up. 216 Creator Studio helps you sound crisp, confident, and ready for the big leagues. So stop recording in your car, stop arguing with your USB mic, and get into 216 Creator Studios, where your podcast finally sounds as good as you think it does.